the kill count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at The Witch, or The Gvojic, a New England folktale which premiered in 2015. The Witch follows a family of Puritans who are banished from their community and have to build a lonely farm for themselves near some spooky woods. It's probably one of the most divisive horror movies released in recent years, and it's not hard to see why. First-time writer-director Robert Eggers, whose second feature, The Lighthouse, hits theaters on Friday, October 18th, set out to create a sensory supernatural horror film painstakingly accurate to the 17th century in which it takes place. In other words, don't go walking into this thing expecting a run-of-the-mill horror movie. Instead of standard jump scares, most of the terror is derived from foreboding shots of nature and discordant howling on the soundtrack. And in between all the scary stuff, the characters speak to each other in an archaic dialogue. Their early modern English, partially taken from contemporary journals, can feel downright inaccessible sometimes, especially in Ralph Ineson's heavy Yorkshire accent.
That's the billock wife, and I will smite Jonas as Abraham would have done his seed.
But for viewers who are willing to put in the work to understand this thing, The Witch is a rewarding experience. I love the way it authentically transports the viewer to a totally unfamiliar time, which makes it all the easier to identify with teenage Thomasin, played by Anya Taylor-Joy in her first feature, as she finds herself captive to the era's hardships and superstitions. Visually stunning and mysteriously supernatural, I'm really happy that The Witch exists. There aren't too many movie experiences like it. How many people die in The Witch, and were they all baptized before doing so? Let's find out and get to the kills. The movie begins with the title card, followed by Ralph Ineson throwing us into the deep end with this dialogue.
What went we out into this wilderness to find?
Well, we went out to find— wait, what? Ineson's character William and his family are on trial in their Massachusetts Puritan community circa 1630-something. And he is not doing a good job making friends with the jury.
We are your judges, and not you ours.
I cannot be judged by false Christians.
William and his beliefs are too extremist even for the Pilgrims, so they're banished from the community. After one last good look on their way out, the gates are shut to them forever, and teenager Thomasin isn't looking too thrilled about the move. It's tough to switch schools at that age, you know? For their new home, William picks a clearing near some woods that director Robert Eggers says is meant to be in southern New Hampshire, even though the movie was filmed in a remote part of Canada. Either way, I don't know why they chose this spot to live when it's surrounded by the noisiest goddamn trees I've ever heard. Sometime later, they've built a small farm, and you'd best believe that what you're looking at here is how it would have looked in real life. Eggers, a stickler for authenticity, had the whole place built from scratch with materials and techniques these characters would have used in their time. He was not fucking around when he made this movie. A lot of historians have praised it for how accurate it is. As Kate Dickie shoots some pickups for Game of Thrones, teenager Thomasin partakes in the family's favorite pastime, praying to God for forgiveness. She apologizes to the big man for occasionally having personal desires instead of wanting to work and praise the Holy Spirit all the time. And since she's not perfect, Thomasin knows exactly what she deserves.
Everlasting hellfire.
Amen. But Thomasin shouldn't be so hard on herself. At least she's a good sister to her newborn baby brother, Sam. Although, yeah, looks like you went and lost the baby there, Thomasin. That's probably gonna be a strike against you. Sam's apparently been taken by the woods themselves, though in actuality, he was taken by the woods witch, who rushes the baby back to her witch hut among the trees. The witch lays the baby out and puts a blade up to him, and horrifically enough, baby Sam becomes our first widow victim on the count, killed off screen and then mushed into a baby paste by this naked-ass witch. She uses the paste to rub down her naked-ass body and this broomstick-looking branch. And hey, what do you know? Baby blood gives you wings. We've got a regular Bette Midler on our hands here. A week later, with Mother Catherine still in despair, William tells his adolescent son Caleb that he's calling off the search for baby Sam, reasoning that the kid's gotta be dead by now. Yeah, almost as dead as the crops they're trying to grow, or the eggs their chickens are hatching. Ew. As anyone who's played Don't Starve together knows, you need to have food stored up for winter, so in his effort to persevere,
We will conquer this wilderness. It will not consume us.
William takes Caleb into the woods with their dog Fowler to check their animal traps. As they walk through the woods, William gives Caleb his daily guilt lessons and reminds him of original sin and what it means for his soul.
My corrupt nature
is empty of grace.
And your animal traps are empty of food. You're just an empty-ass family, huh? Caleb gets to thinking, though. If everyone's born in sin and baby Sam died before getting baptized, then...
Is he in hell?
Caleb.
William basically tells his son, I hope not. But clearly, these people are fixated on their God's moral judgment, a major theme throughout the film, and, you know, their faith. Remember, these are Puritans who pray to an angry God, a God to be feared and whose mercy is to be begged for. On their way back home, the boys see a spooky hare who stares them down, but William's hunting skills leave a bit to be desired. They return empty-handed and find their black goats acting a fool, probably cause it's being chased by the youngest of their clan, twins Jonas and Mercy, who scream a little song at him.
Black Phillip! Black Phillip!
William gets into a horn wrestling match with Black Phillip, and his struggle here isn't really acting. Black Phillip was played by Charlie the Goat, who was apparently a major dick on set and gave everyone a hard time.
Black Phillip did not care that I wanted to make this film, and I totally respect that, but I mean, it was so much worse than I ever thought.
They're goats. I mean, they're goats.
Ralph Ineson definitely had the worst of it, though.
He put Ralph in the hospital?
I mean, you know, briefly.
Catherine yells at the guys for going into the baby snatching woods, and Thomasin for not watching over the twins better. With such a tense home life, William turns to his favorite form of stress relief, chopping logs without a shirt on. Yo, what workout plan you on, dude? Puritan 90X? Thomasin is washing some clothes in a creek when Caleb comes over and peeks at her décolletage, a sinful habit he had already indulged in that morning. Caleb is confused by and ashamed of his sister's burgeoning sexuality, but that doesn't stop him from getting into an ungodly tickle fight with her. They're interrupted by the little twin girl Mercy calling herself the Witch of the Woods and telling them that that's who took baby Sam, not a wolf, which is the family's working theory right now.
It were a wolf stole Sam.
A witch. I've seen her in her riding cloak about the wood.
Father showed me the tracks.
It was a witch.
Since Mercy's an annoying little git, Thomasin teases her and tries to give her a scare.
'Twas I what stole him. I be the Witch of the Wood.
She slaps Mercy down and tells her not to tattle to their parents, and after some witchy-ass threats and a throat grab, Caleb breaks his sisters up. That night, after a very lengthy dinner grace, an argument breaks out when Catherine accuses Thomasin of losing her father's silver cup.
Did the wolf find a shot too?
Nope, wasn't a wolf, Catherine. Turns out it was your husband William, who earlier admitted to Caleb that he secretly sold that silver cup to buy hunting supplies. But William doesn't come clean at the dinner table, and an angry Catherine dismisses Thomasin, telling her to go check on why the goats are making so much noise out in the stables. Yo, it's all good, man. They just having their bunny friend over. That night, as the kids silently listen upstairs, Catherine cries over their looming starvation come winter. She tells William that Thomasin has entered womanhood and should be in service to another family in exchange for food. William reluctantly agrees to send Thomasin up the hill to service a family named the Tildens or some shit. But Caleb's not about to let his favorite sister be sent away like that, so he sets off on a stealthy plan to bring his family some food from the woods. When Thomasin catches him in the stable, she insists on coming along, so, accompanied by her and their trusty fowler, Caleb retrieves a rabbit from the trap his father set. Nice going. Put that boy on a drying rack and you can make yourself some small jerky. On the ride back home, with Thomasin looking real fly in the era-appropriate attire, courtesy of costume designer Lisa Muir, Fowler finds another wascally wabbit wiggling its nose at him. The dog goes after the rabbit, the boy goes after the dog, and the upset horse knocks Thomasin unconscious. Caleb gets lost as the sun goes down, and if that wasn't bad enough, he then goes and finds that his dog is dead. Meanwhile, Thomasin comes to and makes her way back home, where she has to admit to her father that she lost another one of her siblings to the woods. Caleb finds himself at the lean-to of that wicked Witch of the Woods, and don't look now, but that baby blood did her something good. Yo, and you know what? I think she's the one who's been making all the trees sing. In a doubly disturbing act, the Woods Witch first seduces the young Caleb and then kidnaps him with an older-looking hand. I guess she missed a spot during her baby blood rubdown. That night, a storm rages on outside as William confesses to Catherine that he sold her silver cup. Now's a good time as any to note that Eggers and DP Jaron Blaschke lit this entire movie using only natural overcast sunlight and candles for the dark interior scenes. It's another way they tried to be faithful to the time they were depicting. And while it looks incredible on good screens and ideal lighting, I know that some of y'all watching this on your phones in broad daylight, so I've taken the liberty of brightening some of their shots for you to better see them in this video. The angry weather matches Katherine's disposition, since she's mad at William for lying to her about the cup and at Thomasin for losing another brother. But calm down, lady, the kid's already back. Just, you know, a lot more wet, naked, and afraid. Caleb is fucked up, and it doesn't help that their best form of treatment right now is some bloodletting. God, what to do with all this pent-up frustration? Better go chop some more logs. The next morning, the twins get all up in Black Phillip's face and say that the goat told them Thomasin's to blame for Caleb's state.
Black Phillip Stiff, you are wicked. He told me too.
Ugh, we got Black Phillip trying to cause some bad blood, and the other goats straight up milking bad blood. How are we supposed to make tasty goat cheese with blood, you stupid goat? Ain't no such thing as blood cheese. Caleb's condition goes from critical to creepy when he all of a sudden starts yelling out a bunch of crazy shit and contorting around in a damn sweat. Great, and now he's refusing to open his mouth until you literally pry it open? The kid's a bad apple, I'm telling ya. And Katherine has a good idea why.
He's witched.
Did she? No!
The Shitspackle twins cry out that Thomasin's a witch who's responsible for all their ills. But while Katherine is receptive to the claim, William remains skeptical. He asks Thomasin if she's a witch, and she'd better be honest, cause like, if you are a witch, you have to say so when asked. That's like witch law, man. Thomasin says she's not a witch, Christine O'Donnell style, and the family gets into a prayer circle around Caleb to heal that boy up. But the twins claim that they can't remember their prayers anymore and blame Thomasin's witchcraft for their faulty memories. These shitty little twins. I bet before their banishment, they were best friends with Abigail Williams. Caleb breaks up the madness with some madness of his own, screaming with vigor about his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, before lying back in some sort of ecstasy and delivering a sonnet to JC.
My lord, my love, kiss me with the kisses of thy mouth.
Caleb's rapture, filmed in an unbroken take, is a standout moment with an unearthly performance by Harvey Scrimshaw. But when he's done asking his lord if he can sit upon his lap, Caleb falls back to the bed and stops breathing. Katherine checks his pulse and confirms it. Another son's bit in the dust. Damn, that kid had a bright future writing Christian ballads ahead of him. With Jonas and Mercy still acting all bewitched, Katherine shouts Thomasin the potential witch out of the house. And although her Father William is more sympathetic, he admits that he too believes that Thomasin has made some sort of evil bargain, causing the family's hardships.
I saw the serpent in my son. You stop their prayers.
They lie.
I saw it.
When he begs her to tell him the truth, she tells him the truth that he's a lying hypocrite since he let her take the blame for Katherine's missing silver cup. She insults his farming and trapping skills, which gets him pretty mad, and then turns the accusation of witchcraft around on the twins. She says they're always talking to that bastard Black Phillip, and that the goat's probably the gosh dang devil himself. William drags her inside and makes her share her theory with Katherine.
Jonas and Mercy. They made covenant with the devil in the shape of Black Phillip.
When the twins refuse to respond, William gives up and decides that he can't believe any of his potentially evil children. Might as well lock all three of them in the barn with Black Phillip. Hey, at least the goat's a pretty chill host though. Yo, Thomasin, help yourself to any hay you might want. Mi casa su casa, bah. William tries to bury his son, but he has a hard go of it since his traumatized wife decides to have herself a corpse cuddle in the grave. Ugh, this is all so damn frustrating. Back to the chopping stump. He cries and begs God to save him and his children, who just can't help being bad.
They cannot tame their natural evil.
And that's why he leaves them in the barn overnight, which is when they hear something scuttle across the roof and fall into the nearby hay. Why don't you kids go see what that is? Oh, it's a naked ass witch drinking all your milk blood. But maybe she's a nice witch. No, that's a mean witch laugh. Inside the house, Katherine wakes up to find that Caleb has returned, and so has baby Sam. Reunion hugs!
Mother, we have longed to see you so.
She offers to breastfeed Sam for old time's sake, but you can't go giving your boob milk to phantasms, Katherine, because that's how you wind up with a raven pecking at your nipple. The next morning, William wakes up with a shame over so bad, he doesn't even notice his wife's bloody boob. He goes outside and finds the barn in pieces, and the non-Black Phillip goat's dead. As for Jonas and Mercy, they're never seen again. The hole in the roof of the barn suggests that the woods witch flew off with them, especially since we don't see their bodies anywhere. But even though their chance of survival is pretty slim, I'm gonna leave them off the count since we never know their fate for sure. Unlike with William, who is very visibly stabbed in the side by Black Phillip with his horn. William briefly considers fighting back with his wood chopping axe, but decides to give up and simply deliver some bitter last words.
Corruption. Thou art my father.
Black Phillip runs at William and knocks him into the stand of firewood, which collapses and kills him by crushing him with chopped up logs. If only you hadn't chopped so much wood, dude. Thomasin goes to inspect her dad's body, only to get grabbed by her mother, who is not happy that Thomasin's lost her final 2 siblings. You 4 for 4 there, Tommy gal. Katherine blames Thomasin for Caleb's death and says that her pubescent daughter had been seducing Caleb and William, which, like, ew. Katherine gets so crazy with her accusations that Thomasin has to defend herself with a sharp tool, which she uses to slash her mom's face. And when Katherine tries to strangle her daughter to death after that, Thomasin is forced to kill her mom with at least 3 strikes that sound like stabs and some superfluous beatings for the hell of it. She didn't want to do it, but she had to. And with her mom dead, now she's all alone with those scary ass woods. Or is she? That night, she confronts the goat Black Phillip, who silently leads her into the barn. Inside, she speaks his name and conjures him to speak to her. But I don't know if this is gonna work, Thomasin. Black Phillip's just a goat. He can't talk.
What dost thou want?
Oh shit. The negotiations between Thomasin and Black Phillip begin. First, he offers her some delicious dairy flavoring.
Wouldst thou like the taste of butter?
Before he sweetens the deal even further and asks if she wants to have a straight up tasty lifestyle.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
She obviously would, and the good news for her is that all she's got to do to make it happen is sign his book. Well, hey, Black Phillip, when'd you become a jingle-jangly pirate? He instructs her to remove thy shift, and when she admits to her illiteracy, he says it's not a problem.
I will guide thy hand.
And he does, since now Thomasin's walking into the woods all butt-ass naked with the goat Black Phillip guiding her way. She finds a butt-ass naked witch coven chanting around a fire, and their chants, along with the film's music by composer Mark Corvin, are some of the scariest sounds I've ever heard. But maybe the scariness helps make their spells effective, because all of a sudden, the other witches start rising into the air. And you don't have to worry about feeling left out anymore, Thomasin, because you get to fly too, girl. You get to fly too. How many people died during Thomasin's journey to find some new friends? Let's find out and get to the numbers. By my count, only 4 people died in The Witch. 3 males of various ages and 1 woman. How many of them made it into heaven is a different question entirely. With a runtime of 92 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 23 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to William, because I don't know if I've ever seen a goat kill someone before, so that's kind of fun. And I actually don't have a dull machete for this one, folks. I found all 4 deaths extremely effective in their own ways. I'm done giving this award out by default. If a movie's got good kills, it's got good kills. And that's it. The Witch premiered in 2015 and had a wide US release in 2016. And whether you loved it like I did or hated it, you gotta admit, it was something different. Until next time, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching The Kill Count for The Witch. I want to thank some patrons like Curtis Gunter, Shariah Bell, Liam Riddle, and Stormy Chew, and the D&D podcast, which I'm a part of. It's still October, which means you can still pre-order the Dead Meat Collector's Edition of In Search of Darkness, the 80s horror documentary. Info's in the link in the description. Thanks everyone, be good people.